and the opponent is going to bring in Togekiss, desperately praying to reach that thunder. What is going on, everyone? Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, and if you're a returning subscriber like Farhan Khan, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are taking a look at some battles in the Open Great League featuring a Pokemon that is absolutely not recommended, a very spicy pick that is ranked number 710 on PvPoke. That Pokemon is Absol. This Pokemon is the definition of a glass cannon, very low defense stat with an extremely high attack stat. In fact, it is even higher than Gengar in the Great League. This is not the type of Pokemon you would want to build a team around. However, for the purpose of this video, that is exactly what we're going to do. Joining Absol on this team will be a Mandibuzz forming a double dark backline, and a Mew in the lead with the standard moveset of Shadow Claw, Surf, and Wild Charge. As a trio, this team is going to have very weak coverage for the Great League meta as seen on the screen. That is an F, and to be honest, the main thing holding this team back from having potential is the fact that Absol is a glass cannon. With that said, Pokemon such as this one often make for entertaining battles, so if you enjoyed this type of content, please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. It really helps the channel grow. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. So let's jump right into these battles. We are running Absol in the Open Great League, which many of you might think is absolutely crazy. As you can see displayed on the screen right now, this team is going to have many threats. And jumping into this first battle, we are going to be leading Mew into a Trevenant. Now, a lot of you might be thinking we have two dark types in the back. This isn't so bad of a lead. However, Absol does end up losing to Trevenant in many scenarios just because of how glassy it is, which definitely gives you an idea of just how bad Absol actually is. A dark type potentially losing to a ghost type, but that's just how it goes when you're running the spice. We swap out into Mandibuzz and the opponent responds with a Galarian Stunfisk. Now, I think against a Trevenant lead, swapping out into Absol still is the better play, because I highly doubt that many people are going to think that Trevenant actually beats Absol unless they've actually run the simulations, and I'm pretty sure most people aren't running simulations against Absol because nobody has really ever seen Absol in the Great League. So for that reason, I think coming in with Absol instead of the Mandibuzz would make more sense. Mandibuzz still does somewhat decent against Stunfisk, but that Trevenant is still going to be an issue in the back. So right here, we did decide to shield up the Earthquake, commit to the Shadow Claw down. At this point, without knowing our moveset, it would be risky for the opponent to no shield. We could have Ice Beam, we could have Overheat. We take a shield and we swap out into Absol, and the opponent responds with a Toxapex. Now, although the standard moveset is Megahorn plus Dark Pulse, this right here is why we are running Thunder. Unfortunately, it is not enough to KO, and two things you may notice right here. One, we are single moved, and two, we are dealing super effective damage with our fast move. This is actually the wrong Absol, and the fast move in this case happens to be Psycho Cut, which actually benefits us more against Toxapex. However, unfortunately, Mew with only Surf and Wild Charge is going to have a very difficult matchup against that Trevenant. Sometimes I do like to experiment with different movesets on Mew just because the Surf Wild Charge is a little bit predictable, and as you can see, they did actually no shield right here, so if we were running Overheat, we could have potentially won this matchup, but in the end we are going to fall just a little bit short. And just like the LA Lakers, we are putting the loss in Los Angeles. 0-1. Let's hop into the next one. So after bringing the wrong Absol into the first battle, I did correct that for battle number 2, and we are leading a Mew into Altaria. This is definitely one of the more challenging leads to see because it does defeat all three of these Pokemon. So what I'm going to look to do here is throw the Wild Charge and then swap out into the Mandibuzz. Even if the opponent wants to stay in and throw a Moonblast, Mandibuzz is bulky enough where it could still tank it, and ideally Mandibuzz would lure out a Pokemon that defeats Absol. However, in this case, Absol pretty much loses to almost everything in the meta, so not entirely sure what we are trying to lure out with this team. The opponent, however, does come in with an Empoleon, and when I uploaded this battle as a short, a lot of you were asking how I knew it would be a Toxicroak in the back. This team comp of Altaria, Empoleon, and Toxicroak is actually one I've featured in the past on this channel. I'll put a link to it up here. And basically with a lead like Altaria, you're going to want two Pokemon in the back which have play against steel types, but also Alolan Ninetales. Toxicroak being a fighting poison type is going to be one of the best coverage options for that weakness. So oftentimes you will see it paired with an Altaria lead, and being able to predict the Toxicroak in the back allowed me to bring my Absol against the Empoleon, keeping it away from the Toxicroak, and the opponent actually allowing the Empoleon to go down presents us with a potential win con here, but it's still going to be very difficult. In order to win this battle, we are going to need three things to happen. First, we need to force Altaria to use both of its shields. Second, we need to come in with Absol and Snarl down before it reaches a second Sky attack after shielding the first. And third, we need to have a Thunder ready to go for when the Toxicroak comes back in. But is a non-stab Thunder going to be enough to put this Toxicroak down under? Hit him with that. Bang! There it is. A sight so nice, we have to see it twice. This right here is the reason why I like running Thunder as a coverage move on Absol. A lot of Pokemon such as Toxicroak are going to resist both Dark Pulse and Megahorn. Having access to that Thunder is going to provide some much needed coverage, and with an attack stat as high as Absol, the Hail Mary nuke is always at play. 1-1. Jumping into this next one, we got Mew into Medicham. Opponent swaps out into Umbreon. What we're going to do right here is let them build up to the foul play and then try to catch it onto this Mandibuzz. And now we are going to be locked into a very lengthy double tank matchup. Of course, we want to maintain switch advantage here to keep Mew on the Medicham, but let me take this time to quickly explain my absence on YouTube for the past month. To be honest, I kind of reached the point where GBL was just feeling very repetitive, and of course the lag did not help. I felt I just sort of needed a mental break from everything, and I've also reached the point where pushing for leaderboard doesn't really excite me anymore. And when I really think about it, I get the most enjoyment out of GBL when I'm running Spice. So there will definitely still be a lot of meta showcased on this channel, in particular when I'm making a push for legend rank, but I feel I'm a lot less competitive at this point in Go Battle League than I once was, and I think the main purpose of this game should be to have fun first and foremost, and I find when I'm running Pokemon that I actually enjoy, that's when I'm having the most fun. Alright, jumping back into this battle, we have Mew into Medicham, going for the complete Shadow Claw down. Umbreon comes back in, going to throw this Surf right here. To my surprise, the opponent actually decides to shield, which either means they want to force a shield in return, or they're afraid of this Mew in the back. We swap out into Absol, and the opponent comes in with an Azumarill. Now once again, if we were running Dark Pulse plus Megahorn, this is an absolute GG, but we are running that Thunder, and of course they let that go through. No one is ever expecting that Thunder from Absol, and actually able to get off this Dark Pulse before the opponent throws a move. Absol must think it's in the wrong game, because it's out here spanking opponents like it's Pokemon Unite. Mew going to come back in. Unfortunately, a Shadow Claw is not enough to take it out, and for a split second I actually forgot they had an Umbreon in the back. Thankfully, we do still have a Mandibuzz, and let's give this opponent some credit. They are still playing this out, hoping for a miracle, but just like the Utah Jazz, we are out here as the underdog, expected to lose every game with this team, but we are getting dubs. 2-1, let's hop into battle number 4. We are leading Mew into another Trevenant. This time we are going to swap out into the Absol instead, and the opponent is going to bring in the freaky smiling nightmare Togekiss, desperately praying to reach that Thunder. You all have no idea the things I would do to land a Thunder on that Togekiss. I'm just playing, everyone, come on now, I don't hate Togekiss that much. But what I am hoping for is two specific things right here. First, praying this is not an Ancient Power boost. And two, hopefully this is not a double charm team, because if it is, Mandibuzz is going to get destroyed. Now, unfortunately for us, I underestimated the power of Togekiss. I thought a Surf would be enough to KO. Because of that mistake, I have to dump all of our energy here on the Togekiss in order to take it out. Mandibuzz will now come back in. Shadow Granbull in the back, that means double charm. and that means I am going to leave this matchup early, just like Cristiano Ronaldo against Tottenham. 2-2, nothing we can do. And remember earlier I said we were like the Utah Jazz? Well, just like the Utah Jazz, that feel-good story is going to come to an end real soon, and they'll be looking like the Lakers with the losses piling up. Or I could be completely wrong and they go all the way, who knows. Mew into Meganium, not a good matchup here given our moveset, but the opponent swaps out into Bastiodon. We of course don't have a great answer here, so we are forced to stay in with the Mew. Fortunately, the opponent did swap out very late, which actually allows us to reach 3 Surfs before they reach their first move. This actually will be enough to take out the Bastiodon. I would imagine the Meganium will now come back in without any fear of us having Overheat or Ice Beam. This presents us with a challenge, and I think the correct play would be to swap out into Absol here. Since they swapped out into Bastiodon, it is very possible that they have a double steal team with something like Galarian Stunfisk in the back. But I thought that ensuring Mandibuzz was aligned onto Meganium would be the potential win con here, since we could win that matchup at a shield disadvantage, and we would likely need all of our shields for Absol against whatever is left in the back. The unfortunate part about running Absol is that it pretty much loses to the majority of this meta, so even when we do have shields, it is going to be very difficult to pull off a win with Absol. At this point, we are in a very rough spot, needed to burn a shield there in order to force the final shield from the opponent. Unfortunately, they were able to get a lot of farm on that Absol, so they are going to have some rock slides ready to go. I decide to shield up this first move coming from the Stunfisk, since these rock slides will be doing a lot more damage than anything coming from Meganium, but the opponent is still going to be able to get off one more rock slide before we get to this next Dark Pulse, and their switch timer should also be up, which means that Meganium will be able to come back in. And as you're going to see, these Frenzy Plants are still doing quite a bit of damage right here, definitely putting us within rock slide range. At this point, we could survive the next Frenzy Plant, but this video would not be complete without a Harry Maguire appearance. So here we go, throwing games like Harry Maguire, thinking we would be able to outpace to the Dark Pulse. Instead, we fall one Snarl short. This means that we should have overfarmed a bit more against the Meganium. Because we chose not to do that, we end up losing this game in dramatic fashion, just like Atletico Madrid missing that penalty kick in the 98th minute. Absol with Thunder was a very fun pick that caught some opponents off guard, but for the most part, you're not going to want to run it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment down below, and if you'd like to see more content like this, consider subscribing.